Plus, nature shows off its incredible power.
This is the CBS Evening News with Dan Rather reporting from CBS News headquarters in New York.
Good evening. We begin tonight with a CBS News exclusive. Saddam Hussein has shot at and very nearly hit a high-altitude American U-2 spy plane. He did it with an upgraded, improved Russian-made missile and new techniques. It is now clear that Saddam is testing and challenging the new U.S. president. CBS News national security correspondent David Martin broke this story and has the exclusive details tonight.
The Iraqis caught the U.S. by surprise and nearly shot down a U-2 spy plane. Without any warning, the pilot of a U-2 patrolling the no-fly zone over southern Iraq suddenly saw an anti-aircraft missile streaking toward him. It exploded behind and below him, close enough that he felt the shock wave, although not so close that it did any damage to the U-2. The U-2 operates at an altitude of more than 70,000 feet, which is out of range of most surface-to-air missiles. But U.S. officials say the Iraqis have modified some of their missiles, adding extra fuel to extend their range.
Firing a specially modified missile at a high-flying U-2 could represent a new tactic in Saddam Hussein's long-running campaign to shoot down an American plane, targeting slow-moving reconnaissance aircraft instead of high-speed jets.
Last week, another surveillance aircraft, a Navy Hawkeye radar plane orbiting over Kuwait, reported seeing a missile fired at it. That would be the first time since the Gulf War the Iraqis have fired on a U.S. plane in Kuwaiti airspace. U.S. intelligence still does not know where that missile came from, but the Navy has changed its operations so its radar planes stay further away from the Iraqi border. After so many years of patrolling the no-fly zones over Iraq, U.S. aircraft have inevitably fallen into an operating pattern which the Iraqis can try to anticipate, launching unguided missiles at where they think an American plane should be. All it takes is one good guess, and Saddam will bag an American plane and perhaps capture an American pilot. It remains to be seen what, if anything, the Bush administration will do to discourage him from trying again. David Martin, CBS News, the Pentagon.
CBS News has learned the U.S. is moving troops and putting others on alert as the recently escalating warfare in Macedonia threatens to deepen American involvement in the Balkans. More soldiers are guarding the U.S. Embassy following violent protests, and a U.S. Marine anti-terrorist team has been put on alert in Italy. CBS's Tom Fenton reports why.
Macedonia is on the brink of an all-out civil war. Tonight, the United States and its Western allies tried to cobble together another shaky ceasefire after NATO issued a clear warning.
Any efforts to resolve the situation militarily can only result in the wreckage of the country.
Since early this year, Macedonia's Albanian minority has been taking control of large chunks of the country. They claim they want greater rights, but the government fears they're seeking an independent state. Last night, angry Macedonian nationalists attacked the American and other Western embassies, accusing the West of favoring the rebels. Once again, the tide of refugees is flowing in the Balkans. Only this time, the tables have been turned in a new round of ethnic cleansing. It's mostly Christian Macedonians who are fleeing. The aggressors are Muslims, ethnic Albanians, some of them from neighboring Kosovo, the same people the United States fought to save 2 years ago. Experts say that NATO intervention encouraged the Albanian militants.
They believe that because they won with NATO's help in Kosovo, they've now extended a good chance of winning again in Macedonia itself.
And if the fighting spreads, American peacekeeping troops based only a short distance away in Kosovo could be drawn into another Balkans conflict. Tom Fenton, CBS News, London.
Days after rejecting a global climate change agreement, President Bush is going solo again, this time on an agreement intended to put teeth in the germ warfare ban. U.S. officials today formally abandoned this agreement as, quote, unfixable, saying it would open U.S. biological warfare efforts to inspection by enemies and industrial sites to espionage. On the U.S. domestic agenda tonight, two issues affecting your health and safety are reaching critical mass. President Bush's nominee to head the Consumer Protection Agency is under heavy fire. More about that shortly. First, the patient's Bill of Rights, including the right to sue an HMO, just took a sudden turn for the worse in Congress. CBS's Bob Schieffer has late details. Bob?
Well, Dan, House Republican leaders postponed a vote on the patient's Bill of Rights when they realized that the version they favor was about to lose and a version they oppose, which allows patients to sue, was about to pass.
We consider this so important in the lives of the American people that we will take whatever time it takes to get it right.
That's one way to put it, but reformers translate it another way.
I think that it means that the Republican leadership doesn't have the votes for their bill.
And that's the deal. Gansky, himself a doctor, and a bipartisan group of House members believe they have the votes to pass the broad reform legislation that passed the Senate, a bill that gives patients the right to sue their HMOs in state courts. House Republican leaders have opposed that from the start, and the president has threatened to veto such legislation. They want a more limited bill that makes it much harder for patients to sue.
And I laid out the principles that would allow me to sign a bill, and I still stand by those principles.
If the broad reforms had passed, the president would have faced an unsavory choice: back off his threat or veto legislation that has wide public support. So Republican leaders decided to bury the bill rather than allow it to come to a vote. That means the reforms are dead for now. But Gansky believes public pressure will eventually force the White House and Congress to pass it.
Unlike campaign finance reform, which was sort of low on the public perception list, this is an issue that even our own Republican pollsters this morning are telling us is right at the top of the list of what the public is looking at.
So if Gansky is right, the patient's Bill of Rights will rise from the grave sometime this fall. He believes that if they can hold the votes they now have, and if public pressure forces Republican leaders to schedule a vote, a patient's Bill of Rights will finally pass. Dan.
Bob Schieffer on Capitol Hill. As for President Bush's choice to head the Consumer Product Safety Commission, CBS's Wyatt Andrews is covering the nomination battle in Congress and why opponents think the nominee should be recalled.
Mary Sheila Gall has been on the Consumer Product Safety Commission for 10 years reviewing dangerous products, but her Senate hearing today on her bid to be chairman may have brought the most danger she's ever seen.
I shudder to think the chilling...
Democrats arrived angry, charging that on key votes, baby bath seats, baby walkers, and wide rail bunk beds, Gall would not push manufacturers toward changes that would have saved lives.
And yet, when we try to educate parents about placing their children in adult beds, you not only oppose it, but you write a letter to the editor and you condemn the commission staff.
The most contentious issue is Gall's record of blaming the users of consumer products for accidents, a record she defends. Gall has pointed out, for example, that 75 of 78 deaths in baby bath seats happened when adults left toddlers unattended.
Just tell me what you believe. I believe that we need to take a look at products. We also need to take a look at behavior.
Gall brushed off the accusation that she is big business's best friend.
I have voted with the majority 97% of the time in matters of enforcement. Clearly, I think this is a record of someone who is committed to consumer protection.
Still, Democrats weren't finished. They brought out victims of unsafe products to argue for a more aggressive commission, and they brought out the newest leader of the anti-Gall campaign.
This is a consumer protection agency. It should not be too much to ask that the person who chairs it will actually protect consumers.
Republicans defend Gall as the kind of common sense regulator that Washington needs, but Democrats smell blood. Even if they don't defeat the Gall nomination, they'll try to use it to paint the White House as pro-industry. Wyatt Andrews, CBS News, Washington.
In another major product safety issue, the federal government said today it wants automobiles to have systems to monitor tire pressure as standard equipment. It proposed that most vehicles made after November 2003 have systems to warn the driver of low tire pressure. In many of the fatal accidents involving Firestone tire failures, the tires were not inflated to the recommended pressure. CBS has an update for you tonight on a story we broadcast last week about the possibility that the United States is about to get more deeply involved in the war against the combined forces of drug lords and revolutionaries in Colombia.
Extend my remarks.
House Republicans and Democrat John Conyers have now reached a compromise that could mean Americans will soon be officially joining the battle against Colombia's leftist guerrillas. Under this deal, the number of American combatants would be limited to 800. That would include mercenaries and regular U.S. soldiers. Chinese-born American business professor Li Xiaomin arrived in San Francisco today. He was deported by China for allegedly spying for Taiwan. And there are signs that Zhao Zhan and another U.S.-based scholar convicted in China yesterday on the same charges could also be deported. Those signals came from Secretary of State Colin Powell, who's in Hanoi, where he met with China's foreign minister. Powell said the two cases are, quote, on the way to resolution. Powell visits Beijing Saturday. He says U.S.-China relations are on, quote, the upswing. And thousands of villagers are stranded in eastern India by monsoon floodwaters. Helicopters and boats are being used to deliver food and medicine to people whose homes are underwater. The death toll from drowning and disease is at least 83. On the CBS Market Watch, faced with falling profits, members of the OPEC cartel agreed today to cut oil production to try to shore up prices. On Wall Street, stocks rallied today. The Dow closed up 164 points. The Nasdaq gained 25. Coming up later here on the CBS Evening News, Mount Etna's sky-high eruptions and the people forced to go with the flow. But right up next, Eye on America. See how industry wheeling and dealing keeps the cost of prescription drugs sky-high.
Morning, guys.
Hi.
Hey, morning.
Like to see how your cereals stack up the total?
Sure,
to get
sure.
the iron in one bowl of total, you'll have to eat 2 bowls of cornflakes. For folic acid, try 4 bowls.
That's a really big spoon.
Want zinc? 10 bowls for you.
What's so funny?
Nothing.
Nice bowls.
Total has 100% of 11 vitamins and minerals in just 1 bowl.
We'll take the total. Sure. And give Junior the check. What?
Total Raisin Bran, Total Cornflakes. 1 bowl, 100%.
Ouch! Pain again? I thought your dentist said brush with Sensodyne every day.
I stopped when the pain stopped.
Keep using it. It keeps working.
Sensodyne every day. Now try Sensodyne Tartar Control Plus Whitening every day.
Out here, I'm in command. So am I supposed to say, slow down, guys, I'm constipated? I don't think so. You try to eat right. Sometimes you can't. Harsh chemical laxatives, they can kick in whenever and wherever. Not an option. So I rely on doctor-recommended Metamucil. It's got 100% natural fiber. Works with my body, gently, which is important to a sensitive guy like myself.
Metamucil, the doctor's natural choice for regularity.
Life is like a sport. The impact of each step impacts more than just your feet. But new Stride Guard insoles absorb 50% more heel impact than these Dr. Scholl's. Take more impact in stride. New Stride Guard insoles.
Feeling a little nervous about getting on the bus?
Yeah, I don't want to go.
You have to go to school.
I don't know if I want to go, though.
That'll be fun.
I want to hang out with you.
Girls' first day. Be nice. First days are always a little scary.
I'm going to miss you.
It's gonna be a bride.
Chevy Malibu. It's dependable. Just like you. Chevy Malibu. We'll be there.
It's so easy to fall in love. It's so easy to fall in love.
You'll love Ziploc Easy Zipper.
So doggone easy, doggone easy, doggone easy.
With regular bags, you pinch and seal and hope it's closed. But now you can easy zipper it and know it's closed.
Oh, so doggone easy, doggone easy, doggone easy.
Ziploc Easy Zipper. Easy open, easy close. Easy Zipper. S.C. Johnson & Family Company.
Fall in love.
Tonight's Eye on America investigation will give you a whole new insight into why prescription drugs cost so much. In some cases, you may have noticed, cheaper alternative drugs are not as cheap as you might expect, even in the case of a life-saving breast cancer drug. There's a reason for it, and just wait till you hear what it is in this report from CBS's Jim Axelrod.
When Lynn Lovinger heads to the drugstore, she's got one thing on her mind: her breast cancer medication.
#1 priority. I mean, I have to have it.
Living only on Social Security, it costs her $25 a month.
It's not peanuts. I mean, I'm not desperate, but it's certainly somewhat of a burden.
The burden could be significantly lighter if there was a generic alternative to her drug tamoxifen, sold under the brand name Nolvadex. But there's not, in part because of an agreement between AstraZeneca, the maker of Nolvadex, and Bar Labs, which wanted to produce a generic version.
They did contract with each other to keep the, as best as I understand it, to keep tamoxifen from being sold as a generic drug.
Here's what happened. Bar challenged the patent, which gives a company that develops a drug a 20-year monopoly to sell it. AstraZeneca then returned fire, suing for patent infringement, and then took an additional step, giving Bar $21 million and an offer to distribute the drug under its pharmaceutical name, tamoxifen, all if Bar would just back off.
It's extraordinary that a plaintiff that brings the lawsuit actually pays money to the defendant to settle the lawsuit.
In this case, AstraZeneca eliminated the threat of their patent being overturned on a drug that generated $346 million in sales that year. Bar was guaranteed profits while avoiding a lawsuit that could have bankrupted the company.
We believe, this agreement doesn't pass the smell test. There's something wrong here.
Kim Schellenberger's consumer group is suing, saying this side agreement maintains the artificially inflated market price for Nolvadex. Bar's tamoxifen sells for only 5 to 10% below the brand name, instead of the usual 50 to 80% discount generics normally offer once a patent expires or is overturned. Bar says without the deal, there's no guarantee there'd be any competition because other generic companies subsequently challenged AstraZeneca's patent and lost.
Had we not agreed and brought a lower-cost product to market, the only alternative for consumers today would be Nolvadex.
Other side deals have caught the attention of the Federal Trade Commission. In the last 16 months, the FTC has settled suits against Abbott and Hearst for paying generic companies to go away entirely. A case against Schering-Plough is still pending.
The result of an agreement like that is that the generic company gets paid millions of dollars for doing nothing. The brand name company eliminates competition and continues to charge the monopoly price, and the consumer pays the bill.
The brand name drug companies are the nation's most profitable businesses, and protecting their patents is what keeps them that way. Tomorrow night, we'll show you the lengths they'll go to do that, and why some in Congress think it has to stop. For Eye on America, I'm Jim Axelrod in New York.
There may be a promising, not conclusive, but promising new line of attack tonight against cancer. It's an experimental drug genetically engineered to hunt down and kill cancerous cells without harming healthy cells. In 11 of 16 test patients with a rare type of leukemia, the cancer went into remission. 2 years later, only 3 of those 11 have needed more treatment. The FDA today ordered new and tougher warning labels on the powerful prescription painkiller OxyContin. As CBS News has been reporting, illegal trafficking and abuse of OxyContin have resulted in a fast-spreading plague of addiction and death.
Best Western, the world's largest hotel chain, is almost anywhere you want to go. The world's largest hotel chain tucks you in around the globe. With over 4,000 hotels in over 80 countries, the world's largest hotel chain is Best Western, inviting you to get a good night's sleep. Best Western, the world's largest hotel chain. Call 1-800-WESTERN or visit bestwestern.com.
These two women started scrubbing their bathtubs at the same time. The woman on the right used deeper penetrating scrubbing bubbles. The woman on the left is using Tilex. Be done with scum faster with scrubbing bubbles. They work even harder, so you don't have to.
You strive for perfection in the kitchen. Wield highly precise instruments. Test things 500,000 times. Work with tolerances of less than 1,000th of an inch. You could be making a Delta faucet. Precisely crafted and relentlessly refined, Delta faucets achieve perfection in the kitchen. Even if you can't. Delta, beautifully engineered.
Ford says their F-150 is built tough.
But our engineers will tell you the GMC Sierra has more horsepower, more towing capacity, and more front headroom and rear legroom. If you want all that from an F-150, well, that is tough. For great offers this summer on remaining 2001 Sierras before they're all gone, hurry to the pros at your GMC dealer today.
Welcome to the neighborhood.
Hey, neighbor. I whipped up a delicious crab cob salad and these mouth-watering crab portobello mushrooms. Nice mold.
At Red Lobster, we love preparing crab in fresh new ways. So come in now for the Festival of Crab. Red Lobster, go overboard.
You want the very best for your best friends. Proper nutrition, regular exercise. And when it comes to monthly heartworm, you can forget it. Now there's Pro Heart 6. Just one dose from your veterinarian protects against heartworm disease for 6 months. Use with caution in sick, debilitated, or underweight animals. Side effects may include mild swelling or itching at the injection site. Forget monthly heartworm. Remember Pro Heart 6, the 6-month preventative, only from your veterinarian.
The U.S. House of Representatives voted late today to lift the ban on most travel to Cuba. A similar measure last year died in the Senate. The House defeated a measure that would have kept the travel ban until Fidel Castro frees political prisoners and returns fugitives from U.S. justice. In Sicily, more sizzle and lava today from Mount Etna. Satellite images clearly show the volcano's huge plume of smoke and ash. But to get a true sense of Etna's force and threat, you need a close-up view. CBS's Richard Roth went there to get it for you.
Like a colossal contest between the forces of nature, the eruption of Etna has eclipsed the sun over Sicily. It's pushed fountains of red-hot lava downhill, oozing toward the town of Nicolosi, where 5,000 people live. And for more than a week, it's made the world's biggest sound and light show, a fiery display of awesome power from Europe's tallest and most active volcano. The volcano's eruption has mobilized man against nature, moving Earth to try and shift the lava flow and dropping water to cool the fire. The heroic efforts looked hopelessly small. But in the small town under the volcano, officials today sought to put perspective on something that happens here almost every decade. By itself, Etna now is calming down, they said, in its own noisy way. There's still an ominous-sounding racket up here, as if a thunderstorm is trapped inside the mountain. But scientists say it's actually a good sign. Instead of pushing out more lava, the volcano now is letting off steam. And venting ash, spewing dark clouds hundreds of feet high.
What's powering these explosions is simply gas. Gas which is coming from depth within the volcano and collecting close to the surface and then suddenly being released in a burst, causing the explosions that we can hear now.
The danger may be over, but the drama goes on. The great fascination here is the power of nature and its unpredictability. As one tourist said today, gazing up at the mountain, it's a nice place to visit, and she didn't have to finish the thought. Richard Roth, CBS News, Mount Etna, Sicily.
Space Shuttle Atlantis glided in for a spectacular middle-of-the-night landing at home base in Florida. While it looked picture-perfect, Shuttle Commander Stephen Lindsay said it felt like he was diving into a black hole. The space shuttle drifted to the right and had to be steered back to the middle of the runway.
Hi, I want the Goodyears you have on sale.
Okay.
And I want free mounting.
Sure.
And free rotation anytime.
Mm-hmm.
And I want the Die-Hard battery, too. For free.
No problem.
Cool.
At Sears Auto Center, all Goodyear tires are on sale, and now buy 4 Goodyear tires and get a free Die-Hard battery. Sears, America's #1 tire retailer.
Is this free?
There's a place where the sun always shines and folks love a good meal. It's got to be Applebee's.
In the neighborhood.
Summer salads are in the air. We're talking saucy Oriental chicken with crunchy almonds and tangy dressing. Or dive into new salads like garlic crusted shrimp Caesar. And for a limited time, the Steakhouse. 11 ounces of sirloin with crispy greens and blue cheese only at Applebee's. And check out Applebee's new menu items like the appetizer sampler. That's eating good.
When Tony brought me home to meet his mother, she was a little surprised.
She wanted a good Italian wife for him. She got someone who teaches him Yiddish. We have our differences, it's true, but we are bonding. She gave me her grandmother's good tablecloth. It survived 2 generations. Now it's up to me.
Tide Deep Clean formula combines an amazing detergent with the power of a pre-treater. It's all you need for the best stain fighting ever.
Married life is great. All 3 of us are having a blast.
Thursday nights are chilly nights at Ladder Company 55. And when it's Wachowski's turn, it's a 5-alarmer. That means heartburn. And gas. These don't have the medicine to relieve both, but now there's new Gas X with Maalox, combining the proven heartburn relief of Maalox with the most powerful gas-fighting medicine around to relieve heartburn and gas fast. New Gas X with Maalox beats the burn and the bloat fast.
Gentlemen, we can rebuild him. We have the technology. Better than he was before. Better, stronger, faster.
Introducing the all-new 270-horsepower Chevy Trailblazer, the most powerful mid-size sport utility in the world. It's one strong SUV. The new 2002 Chevy Trailblazer, like a rock.
This Max driver arrested on charges of molesting a 14-year-old girl, and you won't believe where the incident took place. The story at 6.
In tonight's In Notes, what could be one of television's big flops, the V-chip. It allows parents to block programs they don't want the kids to see, but a study finds only 17% of parents who have a set with the chip use it. In Virginia, proof you can lead a pony to water and make it jump in. The annual swim from Virginia's Assateague Island to Chincoteague Island, where the wild ponies will be auctioned to thin out the herd. And remember this guy? The 5,300-year-old Iceman found frozen 10 years ago in the Alps. We now know what killed him. An arrow. X-rays found the arrowhead under his left shoulder. Perpetrator apparently still at large. And that's part of our world tonight. I'll be back pretty quickly here tonight with 60 Minutes, too. The Nazis didn't want anybody to find out what they buried at the bottom of this lake.
Clear to dive.
But 55 years later, we found it. 60 Minutes, too. A new day and time. Tonight at 8, 7 Central. We'll look for you then. And right here tomorrow for the CBS Evening News. Dan Rather reporting. See you soon on 62.
For news 24 hours a day, CBS.com on the internet and on our interactive partner, America Online, at keyword CBS News.
The war against generic drugs. Eye on America investigates tomorrow. Experience CBS News.
Good evening, I'm Kelly Day.
I'm Jeff Gianola. Let's switch to Warren Petrie, who joins us over a fire in Scappoose. Warren, what's the latest?
Yeah, Jeff, this fire is